When I moved to Milwaukee, I was looking for a place to stay, and I seen an ad in the paper. It was like, they said a loft-style house, and so I went and check it out, and it happened to be right across the street from Linneman's, which is where we're at. It's like Locust and Wheel. So I lived there for a couple of years. It was a nice little house, and I liked the neighborhood. It was just, everybody kind of kept to themselves, and nobody bothered me, so I didn't bother them, and it worked out all right. And ended up writing a song here that went national. We won an award for the song. It's called Closer to Free. That we won an award. It was one of the most played songs in the whole country in 1995. So good things can happen in River West, I guess.
I'll start with this song because I wrote the song across the street. It's called Closer to Free. Everybody wants to live like they want to live. And everybody wants to love like they want to love. Everybody wants to be closer to free. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody wants respect just a little bit. And everybody needs a chance once in a while. Everybody wants to be closer to free. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, everybody want, everybody to, everybody free. Everybody needs to touch, now and then. And everybody wants a good friend. Everybody wants to be closer to free. Yeah. Closer to free, closer to free. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody want, everybody to, everybody free. Everybody wants to live like they want to live. Everybody wants to love like they want to love. Everybody wants to be closer. Everybody wants to be closer. Everybody wants to be closer to free. Don't you?
George, how long have you lived in this neighborhood and how has it changed?
Well, I've lived here for all of 89, 90 years. And when I first moved in here, of course, I was a little boy. I was maybe 4 years old, something like that. And it was an all-German neighborhood. All German. I was the first Polak in the neighborhood, so I got beat up quite a few times. And then little by little they started moving away and Italians started moving in here. And it was much better. I had a lot of Italian friends here. The place on the corner over there used to be an Italian grocery store. On the other side there was a grocery and butcher shop. Neighborhood places, which are all been eat up by the big boys now. And after they moved off, then it got to be sort of a salt and pepper neighborhood, I would say. And now it is that way with Puerto Rican people added. And I have swell neighbors. We watch out for each other and stay out of trouble.
Milwaukee's River West neighborhood is just that. It's the neighborhood immediately west of the Milwaukee River, kind of sandwiched between the more expensive and mostly white east side and the poor, mostly black Central City. We'll kind of define it as the area from Capitol Drive south to North Avenue, and from the river and Humboldt Avenue on the east to Holton Street on the west. It's only about 6 blocks wide, but about 2 miles long, This one neighborhood is home to more than 11,000 people. Most are white, but there is a large and growing Black and Latino population. It is probably the most diverse neighborhood in the city. Tom Tolan has written a book about the history of River West and tells us that back in the 1800s, the inhabitants were the aristocrats and German industrialists who built an upper crust summer settlement along the river.
You know, they had servants, they had big houses, they had vineyards where they made wine up there, and they had this very sort of well-developed family society up there.
Soon the Polish and the working class started moving in, and then Italians and young students, and then Blacks and Latinos. Tom Tolan moved here as well.
I guess I'd just say it's a really diverse neighborhood that's sort of a crossroads between the African-American North Side, the sort of youth culture of the East Side, the university crowd. It's a barrio. It's it's an old Polish ethnic neighborhood. It just is this very interesting mix of groups.
When Frank Zeidler was Milwaukee mayor, many River West residents worked at the nearby, but now long gone, American Motors plant.
And that was a big source of occupation for a lot of people in this area because of hundreds, maybe thousands of workers worked in that plant.
I don't know if you ever met him, but he was an incredibly nice guy. People always say, what is the most interesting thing you've ever done? And without a doubt, it was a program I did in, what year did I do it? 2000. I had gone to a funeral, and I was supposed to meet people at Forest Home Cemetery, and I had never been there. And I screwed up and I got there an hour early. And so instead of going home or back downtown, I just walked around and drove around Forest Home Cemetery. And I couldn't believe that I had lived here my entire life and I had never been to Forest Home Cemetery. And I thought, this place is absolutely gorgeous. And there's so much history here. Everybody that the streets are named after, all the big names, everybody is buried here. And it's just a beautiful, from a landscape architecture point of view, it's just a gorgeous place. So I went back and I said to the boss, would you mind if I did something on Forest Home Cemetery? And they started laughing, and they said, well, when would we air that? On Halloween? So I didn't get to do it, but then a few years later, some different management came in, and they said, sure, go out and do a program on Forest Home Cemetery. So I went and did it, and it turned out to be one of the most watched local things ever on Channel 10.